Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you. And I'm going to be doing a little demo today. And I'm going to move rather quickly because, of course, you're going to be able to review this as many times as you need to see exactly what it takes to create a circadian circle map. And a circadian circle map is a wonderful guide for our creative energy so that we're moving in sync with the cycles of the seasons. There's many, many ways to work with the circle, but today we're going to construct it. And so as we go forward, if there's interest, we could definitely do a deeper dive. But today I just want to show you how to create your own circadian circle map and let you start playing with it and seeing how it talks to you. And you'll notice that in some of the posts recently, we've talked about polarities and finding your birth month and finding the opposite month. My birth month is February. The opposite is August. There are keywords that go with each of the months of the circadian circle map. And I'm telling you, I've worked with this tool for a couple decades now. Since 1989, I've actually been perfecting it as time goes on, but it's a really excellent, we'll call it a cool tool. And it just has so many wonderful ways that each of us in our own creative work will discover. So it's really kind of a gold mine. So I'm going to change the camera over to the demo so that we can start creating our circle map. Okay, so I've got a plain sheet of paper. It's not too large and it's not too small. And I have a salad plate, just a regular salad bowl that's going to act as my template. And I also have a cap from just a jar, a spice jar, that's going to be my inner circle. To remind us when we're looking at the circle, we're looking at the center, which is where we live, which is where we dwell with the ancestors and the elements, all the holy helpers, all the mighty companions, our angelic board of advisors, infinite creative intelligence, all of the juice of our life resides symbolically within the center of the circle. And then we have the outer circle. And our tendency is to get onto the outer circle and just kind of hang out there like a merry-go-round. But we want to remember that we live out of the center. So this is our map. You can freeze frame and look at this to your heart's content. You can see that home is where we always return, and we move out. We move out of these 4 pathways, clearly marked here, and you'll be making them on yours. And then each quadrant represents approximately 90 days, 12 weeks, a quarter of a year. So we start in the east, on the east edge of it's a compass, it's a calendar and a compass. So we have east, south, west, and north. And we always start at the east with the dawn of every morning, with our idea of a beginning a project, a birth of a new idea. Everything starts at the east, and then it moves around the circle. This being a year-long circle, that's what we're going to focus on, is the 4 quadrants of the year and the way that our energy moves around the calendar of the circadian circle. So with that said, let's set that aside and let's get out our tools. So I'm going to just lay the salad plate, nice size, for a circadian circle. And I'm going to actually label this. We're making a circadian circle map. And with this, we can navigate to just about any place we want to go throughout the year. So I'm going to mark the 4 compass points: east, south, west, north. And I'll move the plate aside for a second, and I'll put our center circle here in the middle. And so again, you can use anything to make a smaller circle for the center of your circadian map. Make that, put that aside, bring the salad plate back, place it into position. And now I'm going to take a fine line Sharpie marker. You can use anything you want. You can obviously use all kinds of color, but I'm going to stay with black lines on the white paper today so that we can move quickly and get our map done. Now I'm going to take a ruler and I'm going to go through the center of the circle. You can be very precise about this. I have Virgo rising, so it already is making me crazy that my lines aren't lined up perfectly, but they're not. You can line your 4 pathways up perfectly as you're making your map. But there we have it. This is a home, and as you know, I like to say we work from Om. This is where the ancestors and the elements, earth, air, fire, water, and space, they all reside in the center of the circle. This is the east. This is the south. This is the west. And this is the north point on our circadian circle. Now we want to put into each of the quadrants the 3 moons of each quadrant. So we start here and we start with April, May, and June. Then we want to line up our pathways, and the pathway for April is clarity. So we can make our little shapes any way we want to. I like to use the triangles as arrows reminding us to go back, always return home. May, month of May, keyword is wisdom. June, keyword for June is brilliance. So throughout each spring, or we could also use this as a daily map, but we're using it first learning to map out the year. So we have April, clarity, May, wisdom, June, brilliance, and this is the me quadrant. And me represents all the me's that I've ever been throughout time. So I certainly don't remember all the me's that I've ever been throughout time, but I can call on them throughout the 12 weeks of the spring. So this is the me quadrant. And it begins in the east and it starts with the spring equinox. When we get to the south gate, which we've just done recently, it opens the pathway and we begin to move through from the south into our home zone, or conversely, we move out of home and down the south pathway. And the moon months are July, August, and September. So we want to make a note that July's keyword is growth. August, the keyword is trust. September, the keyword is love. Love as the power, the glue, what holds everything together, rather than love as an emotion. Now, this is the we quadrant, because if we only focus on the me, we become distorted, diluted, and narcissistic. So we invest 12 weeks in the springtime each year for, a minimum, maybe 15 minutes a day. We just consider what's being represented in the clarity of April, the wisdom of May, and the brilliance of June as we go through these 12 weeks. Then when we get over to the summer's 12 weeks, south summer solstice, we expand out from focus on me to a focus on we, to community. We want to connect. We want to know that there's something more than just my needs. It's how can I help? How can I be of service? What do I have to share? How can I be part of the community? And these two areas, the spring quadrant and the summer quadrant, are doing times. The sun is bright, the days are longer, we're more active. So these are the masculine quadrants of the year. When we get to the west, everything shifts. And the west is considered, it comes at fall equinox. And it becomes the inner turn. So east takes us out, west turns us toward the inward life. And even only for 15 minutes a day, if we engage in that focus, we begin to get very in tune. We become far more aware and balanced in terms of what it is we're creating and what it is we would like to share. So when we get over here to the west gate, the moons of that quadrant are the moon of October and November and December. And October has a keyword of experience. I'm just going to write it up here. Experience. And October, November has a keyword of introspection. We could also call this death and rebirth, November. And lastly, in this fall quadrant is December's energy and its keyword, which is strength. The quadrant itself moves the focus away from me and we and places the focus on life, all of life, every living thing. We begin to turn our focus inward, and we begin at the fall, and we begin to consider, how do I live my life so that I'm in sync with all living beings? I don't decide that some are good, some are bad, some are right, some are wrong. I'm just practicing each 12 weeks of the fall segment of the year on the circadian circle. I'm practicing being part of life, being enriched by life, and feeling that life is up underneath me. Life is supporting me. So this is a really, really rich progression, as you can see so far. When we get over to the winter quadrant and the opening of the north pathway, we remind ourselves that we always are coming out of the center of our circle in our circadian circle map. We live at home. We have our identity. We have our relationships with the ancestors and with the elements. The ancestors are identified within the context of the circadian circle map as the ancestor of grandfather sun, father sky, grandmother moon, and mother earth. And those would be the ancestors that are not biological, but they are universal. These ancestors are part of every single living thing on the planet. So it's very beautifully alive, this circle. When we get to the north, which would be the winter solstice, and if you choose to have me do more with this circle and really kind of bring it alive for us, then we'll add more and more notes, and this could just be the skeleton that we're looking at today. Because as you can see from the circle map that I've shown in the past and will show again, there are different ways that you can make your own circle map really feel like it's yours, and it's color coded, and it's got keywords that really mean something to you. So this is our basic skeletal map. When we get to the winter solstice in December, like December 20th, 21st, the North Gate opens. And when the North Gate opens, we're beginning our journey back to the spring. And so we're really deep. This is the deep dive quadrant. I call it the gold mine. In the 12 weeks of life in the fall, we're going incrementally getting quieter and going deeper into ourselves, even if only for 15 minutes a day, kind of like a creative meditation. Over here in the North Gate winter quadrant, we're climbing down, down, down into the roots of our being for 12 weeks. Again, even if only for 15 minutes a day. And so our 3 moons for the winter quadrant are the January moon, and its keyword is, how do I want to do this? That's so funny. I know this like the back of my hand, but I'm doing a demo, so my brain is doing 2 things at one time. So when we come into the winter quadrant, we're going in for January is cleansing. February is renewal. And our closest energies to home here is purity. So we close out our year with the idea of January clearing things away. Like the rivers are frozen, but the water's still bubbling, still flowing underneath the ice. And there's a quality of everything being cleansed because of the winter months in the Northern Hemisphere, at any rate. In February, the energies begin to move, and the keyword is renewal. So now things begin to feel like there's a turn and something is happening. We can feel the shift. The climate might not have changed a whole lot. We might not see anything growing yet, but at the same time, February gives us this opportunity to begin to consider, what do I choose to renew? What about my creative life do I want to invigorate and feel into this sense of renewal? And remember, you can look up any of these keywords and make them your own by using the thesaurus and different ideas that might come to you through synonyms and antonyms even. What are the opposites for each of these words, even though we do play with opposites on this wheel itself? When we get to March, our keyword is purity. And the idea would be that now we've walked all the way around the circle map, and we've engaged each of the pathways, and our point of closure for each circadian year is March, leading up to the spring equinox. And the idea that now we're kind of steam cleaning ourselves, or going into the sweat lodge or the sauna, or doing a detox in some symbolic way. We're engaging in the idea of purifying our creative energy and our creative ideas. This quadrant, the winter quadrant, is called the mystery. It's really, really exciting to realize that we'll never know everything. We're not supposed to know everything. And so to just give space to the mystery is really a respectful thing to do, following our relationship with life, the mystery, which I also refer to as my story. because our story is a mystery. It's unfolding and meeting us as we travel. So this is our basic circadian circle map. And as I mentioned in the video that I put up a few days ago, you can find your own keyword. As I mentioned, I'm born in February. My keyword is renewal. Opposite is the month of August. Keyword is trust. My tug of war, all of my life, my tug of war is, do I trust my capacity to renew? And can I renew my ability to trust? And you might, craft a phrase, a power statement, any way you choose. But the idea is to find your birth month, your key word that goes with that month, and then the opposite side of the wheel and its month and keyword, and to begin to see that as a polarity, a duality, a tug of war, where you might want to feel your sense of renewal using my keywords, but I might not trust what's going on in my life at any given moment in time. But the more we walk the wheel and the more we become familiar with our own polarity, our own dichotomies, and as we have close relationships and see where they fall on the wheel, see where their creative tension is, we begin to realize that year by year, this circle map actually spirals up. It lifts us more and more each year. But that's what I wanted to share with you right now, so you can begin to get familiar with making your own circadian circle map. And as you play with this map and become familiar with the keywords in each quadrant, the map itself, the rhythms of the natural cycles of the seasons, they begin to speak to you. And so, as I mentioned, this is kind of one of those beautiful, never-ending journeys that is constantly reminding us to work from home and to journey on the appropriate pathway to wherever it is that we're hoping to get to. Now, there's so much more, as I said, so many wonderful ways to, kind of put tracing paper over the top of your wheel and then add a new way of looking at the wheel. So if there's interest, I'd be happy to do a follow-up on that. But right now, let me just switch over the camera and do a proper bye-bye. So that's our circle map, our circadian circle map, and how to begin to craft your own from beginning to the point where we got to today, which takes you to a place where, again, even if you just journal your own polarity, you're going to begin to get insights and inspirations and intuitive nudges and hunches about how your own creative energy wants to talk to you, wants to guide you, wants to support you, is waiting in the wings for you to line your energy up with the natural cycles of the season and the seasons of the year. Donna, Iona, Drozda here at Wren House Studio. And please make sure that you leave some comments. How did this land for you? Did I go too fast? Did I go too slow? Was there not really an understanding in what was going on? Ask the questions. Let's dialogue if you want to, and give me a thumbs up. And as I mentioned a couple videos ago, I dropped off the map about 18 months ago, and I needed to attend to some important stuff. And now I feel like I'm really excited to be back and to share energy and inspiration around how you can line your own creative energies up with the natural cycles of the seasons and the moon months of the year. See you soon. I got to figure out how to get out of here again, because I haven't done a Zoom in a year and a half, I think it's been. Take good care.